everyone. This is a statistic course and section 1.1. So we are going to learn population, samples, and terminology. We have learning objective here. And let me read textbook. So we have a statistic are everywhere, right? So we use a statistic to understand the world around us and to help us to make decisions that are based on evidence. In sports, statistics are used to measure free throw percentage in basketball. In education, statistics are used to analyze passing rates and assist in placement. And there's so many things related with the statistic, right? Okay, now let's talk about the definition first. What is a statistic then? So that definition is statistic is science of collecting, organizing, analyzing, and interpreting data, right? So science of collecting, organizing, analyzing, and interpreting data. Then what is the data, right? So data is the information we collect, usually recorded to be analyzed. So we're gonna do more example later. Then there are two branches of statistic. So one is the descriptive statistic. Let me write down. Descriptive statistic. Let me pause a little bit. Okay, so we have a descriptive statistic and other branch is inferential statistics. So we talk about that later. Then what is a descriptive statistic? Descriptive statistic is the branch of statistic where information which is data is collected, summarized. Then we can think about descriptive statistic, something describe about the data, right? Describe about the data, yeah? How? We are using average. We often hear that. What's the average of score, right? What is the average of height? So average or percentage or graphs. So average, percentage, that those are things we talk about numerical summary. Yeah. So let me write down. So numerical summary. And what else? Graphs. We can describe for the data set, right? And by table. So in that case, average, or what was it? The percentage. Yeah. Okay. Now then, inferential statistic. Okay, so we have an inferential statistic. So inferential statistic is where we make a highly educated guesses as to the meaning of the data. So what this means? I wrote down the example. So let's take a look. Hilton Hotel gives survey to 100 customers asking if they are satisfied with their services, right? So from this sample, we have not got into the sample definition. So we're gonna do that later. So from this sample, the company infers the satisfaction level of all their customers nationwide, right? So basically, they ask only 100 customers. Their 100 customers represent as all customers in their Hilton hotel, okay? So that terminology, we're gonna launch sample, and then there is all, right? Yeah. Okay, now we have process of a statistic here. So first of all, we do identify the question and population, and then collected the data and organize and summarize the information which is data, right? Make an inferential if appropriate, appropriate, right? Okay, so data. Okay. Let's do this one later. Before we do that, we want to learn the terminology. There's individual here, individual. Individual is a person or object that you collect information from. And then we have a population. We have a population. It's the set of all individuals, right? So all individuals. Hold on. So individual is a person or an object, right? But then population will be all object, all people, right? Now, we have a variable. A variable is quantity or quality that measure or observed from the individual. Yeah. So variable. So we have a quantitative variable and we will have qualitative variable, right? So measure or observe from that individual. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do that example soon. Another terminology, we have a census here. So we often hear the census, right? So we do census every 10 years, right? So it's a census, a census is a list of each individual, yeah? So census is list of each individual. And in the population along with certain characteristics of individual. Yeah, that's the census. Okay, now how do we make a process of a statistic, right? So they said identify the questions, information you need, what is a relevant population, what information do you need to obtain, right? So here is the example. Do college students who study more hours get higher GPAs? Yeah, this is obvious, right? Study more, then higher GPA, right? Then population will be, we just learned what is a population. Population means set of all individuals, right? It could be all people or all items, all objects, right? So in that case, all colleges students at your college, yeah. And information needed is the relationship between hours studied per week and their GPA, right? Okay, number two, they said collect the data. So we survey. So take a random sample of 100 student and ask each student how many hours they study per week and record their current GPA, right? Okay, number 3, organize and summarize the data. So we can create graph of hours versus GPA. Compute numerical summary, such as the average study hours and average GPA. Yeah. And number 4, if appropriate, make an inference. So that will be conclusion. From the sample, infer that all students in the college, students who study more tend to earn high GPA, right? Okay, then there's a little problem with this because GPA is private, right? So definitely we cannot put the name with the GPA, right? So must be anonymous. It is anonymous. It should be anonymous, right? Should be anonymous. Let me write down. So GPA is private, so the student's name should be anonymous. Or we can label number 1, number 2, number 3 instead of name, right? Okay, so let's talk about this example, identification of population, individual, and the variable, right? So we talked earlier, let's recall, what is population? Population is set of all individuals. So it could be set of all people or all object, right? So individual is a person, a on object, on item, right? And variable, it can be quantitative variable or qualitative variable, right? Okay, which is measured or observed from the individual, right? Okay, let's talk about here. We are interested in determining the average age of United States president and inauguration where they officially become become the president, right? Inauguration means there have been 46 presidents in the history of US. Determine population, individual, and variable, right? So let me write down population. So population, in that case, all, this is the 46 presidents, right? In US, yeah? Okay, now, what is individual? Since all 46 president in US, right? Individual is individual president, right? So individuals, so each 46 president. Like George Washington, right? Abraham Lincoln, and Thomas Jefferson, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, right? Let me write down. And so on. Okay, variable. So we want to determine the average age of US president of all 46. Yeah. Okay. So variable will be age. The age of each president. Yep. Then what's the data will be the age. So maybe we can look it up the Wikipedia, right? So George Washington, 57, and not sure Abraham Lincoln. So just pretend, right? 61 and 57, and Joe Biden, 78, etc. Right? Okay. You guys okay? Oops, you cannot see this one, right? Okay, now we talked about the sample earlier, right? Then what is a sample? So we have a definition here. So sample is subset of the population. So basically, if we have population, which is the all individual, right? So let me write down. This is a population. I think this is a population. Whole thing, right? And we have a subset of a population, so we will get sample here, right? Then individual, so each person or each item will be individual, right? So we get the individual from here, right? Yeah. Okay. Now we have another example. So Pew Research Center was interested in determining the percentage of LGBTQ plus high school students who reported poor mental health during COVID-19 pandemic, right? Okay, so maybe you should read. And then they instead use a sample of 1734 who completed the survey, right? Okay, we want to answer what is the population, what is the sample, what is the individual, right? So population will be all LGBTQ plus high school students in the US, right? All, we have to answer all. LGBTQ plus high school. Student. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Sample. They say that sample of 1734 LGBTQ plus students who complete the survey, right? That is a sample. LGBTQ plus student who completed a survey. Yeah. Okay. Individuals, each LGBTQ plus students, right? Yeah. Each LGBTQ plus student. Let me make a who completed the survey from 1,734, right? Oops. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we have another terminology here. So let's take a look. We have parameter. So it's a parameter, not the perimeter. Yeah. Okay, parameter. So what is a parameter? It's the number that calculated from population. That is parameter. Number from population. Yeah. Okay. We have a statistic, right? So what is a statistic? So we have statistics earlier, the English definition. So that is the science of collecting, organize, analyzing about the data, right? Okay, here, statistic, that is number calculated from sample data, right? So let me highlight number calculated from the sample data, calculation data. It's a statistic. Okay. So they say that this is more easily to obtain than population parameter. But if we do that statistic, the number is varies from each sample, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, from my previous students, they said, oh, parameter, the number from the population, PP, right? And statistic, the number from the sample, SS, right? So this is from my previous student. Yeah. Also, the book indicate that the TBs, PP, and SS. Yeah. Okay. Let's answer this example. So this is the same as what we did earlier, 46 all president in USA, right? So we want to know about their average age, right? So they calculate an average age is 50.5 years. What do you think? Is it parameter or statistic? The number is based on population data or based on sample data. What do you think? Good. It's based on population data, right? So because it's all president, 46, all president, right? So it's a parameter. Let me write down. Okay, so I wrote down here parameter since the average 50.5 years from the population data. So think all 46 president, right? So all. Okay, how about this? So this statement, same as earlier, the LGBTQ plus high school students who have mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then look, they conducted a survey of sample 1734, 1,734 LGBTQ students. The result was 1,096, which is 63.2% of LGBTQ students reported that their mental health was not good for most of the time or always during pandemic, right? So what do you think about 63.2%? Is it parameter or statistic? Yes, this is a statistic, right? Because that percentage based on sample data from 1,734 LGBTQ plus high school student, right? Let me write that. Okay, so statistic, since the 63.2% is from the sample data, so think sample of 1,734 LGBTQ plus high school we had from the sample. No, actually, what is called 1,096 out of 1,734, right? Let me fix that. Yeah, I just said it 1,096 from sample of 1,734, which is 63.2%, right? Okay, let's move on another terminology. Okay, so we have qualitative variable and quantitative variable, right? So we had a variable earlier, so we can have a quantitative, qualitative, which is measured or observed from the individual, right? Okay, so let's talk about the quantitative. Yeah, so quantitative, we knew that the variable that represent as a number, right? But then what kind of number they're related with is a count or measurement. Yeah, count, quantitative, it's number related, count with measurement. Yeah. So numerical, yeah. So quantitative variable, also numerical variable. Now qualitative variable represent non-numerical quality of individual. Sometimes number we can use that too, but then that number is not countable, it's not measurement, right? So like a zip code. Make sense to you? This is a little bit confusing. So qualitative, non-numerical quality, but sometimes we can have a number in the variable. Then what kind of number related? It's not count, it's not measurement. So what is number is not measurement, it's not countable, right? So that is kind of a zip code. Yeah. Those kind of number related. And also we say that this is a categorical. And this is a numerical. Yeah. Okay. Let's do examples so that we can understand. So what is the city of birth? Birth. City of birth. So it's a qualitative, right? Qualitative. Categorical, qualitative. Okay, how about age? It's number, right? Can count, can, yeah, measure. Measure, we'll talk about that later. So quantitative, right? Quantitative. Okay, weight of a mouse is a measurement, so quantitative, right? Color of hair, qualitative. Ethnicity, qualitative. Number of pets, quantitative, right? Yeah, I did not make a mistake. All right, how about, oh, we have another terminology, nominal, ordinal, right? So we can split in the qualitative data, nominal, ordinal, yeah. Okay, so nominal, we have nominal, qualitative. So everything is qualitative in the case, in the qualitative variables, we can divide nominal and ordinal, right? So two types. Okay, then nominal, think about name or category, no implied order. Ordinal, qualitative, and represent as, they said they represent name or category, also name of a category. So it may be a little bit confusing. Let's think about that. Nominal, like start to end, right? So from the name, yeah, nominal, name or category. And ordinal looks like order, right? So I want to write down, just highlight order, yeah. So what kind of order? Small, medium, large, yeah? Okay, now let's classify qualitative response variable as nominal or ordinal. Let's do it. Name, obviously nominal, right? City of residence, name, nominal. Rating of service as poor, acceptable, good, or fantastic. So that is order, right? So ordinal. And size of pizza ordered is ordinal, right? And type of pizza ordered, pepperoni, Hawaiian veggie cheese. That is nominal, right? Category, right? Make sense? Okay, now we have more terminology. So we just learned in the qualitative variable. So we have two types, which is nominal, ordinal, right? What about in the quantitative variable, right? So in the quantitative variable, we have discrete and continuous, right? So what is a discrete then? Discrete, like a whole number. So in the quantitative variable, we say that it's number we can count or measured, right? So discrete, we might think count. So like a whole number, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we count, right? So, oh, there we go. Yeah, counting there. Okay, continuous variable, we think from the measure, right? Measuring. So measure. So any fraction or decimal. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Let's answer discrete or continuous, right? in the quantitative variables. All right, so height. It's a measurement, so it's a continuous, right? So continuous. Weight, also measurement, right? So continuous. What about the age? Aha. Is it count? 1, 2, 3, 4? How old are you? Okay. So you are 21 years old, but what about now? You are 21 years old. 4 months? What about now? You are 21 years old. 4 months and 22 days. How about now? You are 21 years old, 4 months, 22 days, 7 hours, and 27 minutes. And right now, 23 seconds. How about that, right? So it's a continuous, yeah? We measure continuous, yeah? Make sense? This is a tricky, right? So continuous. So since we are aging, how spell? So we are aging every moment, right? How about number of persons living in your home? We can count, we cannot chop. This is really scary, right? So 1, 2, 3. So what is called discrete? Number of alcoholic beverage consumed per week. So we count. So discrete. Make sense? Okay, so we understand everything, right? All right. Um, so overall, what we learned just about the variables. So here, variables and data, we have qualitative data. Also, we can call categorical data, right? And then quantitative data, we have numbers that count or measurement, right? So in the qualitative data, also categorical data, we have a nominal, ordinal, right? So nominal, think about the name. Ordinal, think about the order, right? And in the quantitative data, we have discrete and continuous, right? So discrete, think about count. So whole number, start at 0, 1, 2, 3. And continuous, we measure, right? Yeah. So like a fraction, decimal. So let me write down whole number. This is a decimal. Okay, now we have more examples here. Can you please try? Yeah, I want to finish a lecture today. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next section. Thank you. Bye.